Hi, I'm Eleanor, I'm 29, and 3 years ago my sister defended the man who assaulted me. She told everyone I'd misunderstood him, that I must have led him on, that he was just being friendly. She got engaged to his brother anyway, and last month, he struck again at her own wedding. But before that disaster, before the screaming, before the police, there was just me, my family, and the slow unraveling of something I used to call love. Let me start there. My partner, Luca, and I have been together 6 years. He's close to my family. My brothers adore him, my parents trust him, and my twin, Julian, calls him the sane one in our circus. My sister, Sophie, used to love him too. But lately, she sees him as the problem. Sophie has always been obsessed with being married. She used to say things like, "It doesn't matter who it is, I just want the day." I thought she was joking. I learned later she wasn't. 3 years ago, she tricked me into a double date, said it was just dinner with a friend. I showed up, and there he was, Adrian, her boyfriend's brother. Sleazy green, expensive watch, the kind of guy who smells like money and arrogance. All through dinner, he flirted like he was on a timer. I told him I had a boyfriend, but he just leaned closer and said, "He's a lucky guy." But I could make you curious. When I went to the restroom, he followed me in. He pushed the door halfway closed and put his hand on my waist. I froze. My body remembered every bad story I'd ever heard from a woman who thought it couldn't happen to her. I shoved him and said, "Don't touch me." He smirked like it was foreplay. When I told Sophie, she didn't even let me finish. "You must have misread him," she said. "Adrian flirts with everyone. It's harmless, harmless." She started dating his brother, Luca, with that. Don't confuse him with my Lucand. Within a year, she was engaged. Adrian was at every family event, always watching, always near me, always smiling like he knew I couldn't make anyone believe me. When Sophie announced her wedding, I wanted to be happy for her, but then she told me I'd be walking down the aisle beside Adrian. I laughed, thinking she was joking. She wasn't. "I thought I'd walk with Julian," I said. "No," she said. "Luca wants his brother to have a partner from my side. It's important to him. It's weird," I said. "You know what happened to Eleanor?" she snapped. "That was years ago. Don't ruin this for me." That's the thing about family, you don't always realize when love turns into silence. My mother stayed quiet, washing dishes louder than necessary. My father muttered about keeping peace, and I sat there, feeling 12 again. Too loud, too emotional, too much. Julian pulled me aside after dinner. "This is ridiculous," he said. "You can't walk with that creep." "I know," I whispered. "But she's my sister." He looked at me, eyes hard. "She stopped being your sister when she chose him." I didn't want to believe him. I still don't. But that was before the wedding. Before everything broke. Before Sophie learned what happens when you defend a monster. 2 days after the family dinner, Sophie texted me, "Just so we're clear, if your Luca comes to the wedding, you're not in the bridal party. Your choice." No punctuation, no explanation. I stared at the message like it might rewrite itself if I blinked hard enough. But it didn't. Julian saw it first. He was sitting beside me, helping me draft an email for work, and he snatched my phone before I could react. "She's lost her damn mind," he said. "She's just stressed," I muttered. It sounded weak even to me. "She's punishing you," he snapped, "for protecting yourself, for not playing along with her perfect wedding fantasy." My phone buzzed again, this time from Nico, our youngest brother. "Eleanor, did she seriously say Luca can't come?" Apparently, Sophie was on a roll. She'd told Nico the same thing in passing, as if disinviting my partner of 6 years was no bigger a deal than changing the napkin color. Luca read the message and didn't say anything for a long time. Then he exhaled and said, "I'll stay home. You shouldn't have to," I said, furious. "I know," he replied gently. "But I also know you. And I know you'll be miserable if you go without fixing this." The next day, I tried. I called Sophie. She didn't answer. I texted her, no reply. Julian finally drove over to her apartment and rang her buzzer until she picked up. She opened the door just wide enough to speak through the chain lock. "Eleanor needs to get over it," she said flatly. "She was assaulted," Julian replied. "She says," Sophie snapped. "Adrian told me his side, and you believed him. He said she flirted, that she gave mixed signals, and then felt guilty because she has a boyfriend. It happens," Julian told me later. "He nearly ripped the chain off the door. Instead, he walked away." I stayed quiet that week. Didn't reply to anyone. Kept my head down at work. Tried not to scream when clients asked about wedding plans. But the truth doesn't wait quietly. One night, Luca was scrolling through social media when he froze. "Elena," he said, "you need to see this." Sophie had posted a photo from her bridal shower. I wasn't tagged, but Adrian was. And so was a caption. "Family isn't always blood, it's who shows up for you when others are too selfish to care." My stomach dropped. The comments were full of hearts and supportive friends saying things like "you deserve all the happiness" and "block out the drama." That's when I realized she was already rewriting the story. In her version, I was jealous, bitter, making the wedding about me. I hadn't even said no yet. I was still deciding. But in her world, I'd already betrayed her. Julian texted me late that night. "We need to get ahead of this. She's calling cousins, framing you as the villain. She's my sister." I wrote back, "What do I do?" He replied instantly, "You stop playing nice. You tell the truth." So I did. I started small, texted my Aunt Helena, who had reached out in confusion after seeing Sophie's posts. "I'm not attending because Adrian assaulted me 3 years ago. And now Sophie wants me to walk arm in arm with him." Aunt Helena's reply, "Oh, I didn't realize it was that serious." That's the problem. They never do. Until it's too late. But by the end of that week, it was already unraveling. Adrian wasn't content with getting away with it. He was talking. And what he was saying would change everything. Adrian had been telling people we had history. That phrase, so vague, so slippery, started popping up in family whispers and second-hand conversations. He said they had a thing. One cousin told Julian. "Just a fling, but she got cold feet," said another. "Apparently, she's embarrassed now that she's still just dating." Someone muttered to Nico at the gym. It didn't matter that it was all a lie. It sounded like it could be true. Adrian was charming, smug, and rich. I was the difficult sister who didn't want to play along. And Sophie, she wasn't just buying the story, she was selling it. When Nico's girlfriend, Emily, told him that her cousin had gone to college with Adrian and remembered his handsy reputation, we all sat in stunned silence in my living room. Luca was the first to speak. "He's been laying the groundwork, making people think there's something between you two. For what?" I asked, heart hammering. "Why would he do that?" Julian, always blunt, didn't flinch. "To justify it. So if he touches you at the wedding, it doesn't look like assault. It looks like an old flame reigniting." The room spun. I gripped the edge of the couch. "He's planning something," Nico muttered. "The whole thing. He's been pushing for it, right?" Luca with a K insisted. I nodded. "There's a setup," Julian said. "We can't let you go. We won't let you go." But I couldn't believe Sophie would be part of that. Would she? Then Nico pulled up his phone. "There's more," he said grimly. "Emily's cousin just messaged her. At a party in college, Adrian trapped a girl in a bathroom. Sound familiar?" I felt bile rise in my throat. He cornered her. Tried to kiss her. She got away. But nothing happened, no charges. His dad's on some donor list. Old money. New silence. And it was happening again. This time, with my family making it easier. Julian and Nico wanted to confront Sophie, but I begged them not to. "Let me try one more time," I said. "If she hears it from me directly." I was wrong. We met at our old cafe. She looked pale, tense, eyes flickering toward the exit like she had somewhere more important to be. When I brought up Adrian, she cut me off. "Stop. I don't want to hear about your victim complex." The words hit like a slap. "Sophie," I whispered. "He touched me. He followed me into a bathroom." "That's your version of events," she said tightly. "And frankly, I'm sick of it. You're making this all about you. I'm making it about safety," I said, louder now. "Do you know what he's been telling people? That we had history." She rolled her eyes. "Honestly, I'm starting to believe him." I stood, stunned. "I'm giving you a choice," she said, brushing crumbs from her lap. "Be my bridesmaid. Walk with Adrian. Smile for photos. Or don't come at all. But stop trying to ruin this for me." And just like that, it was no longer a dilemma. It was war. I went home and packed up my bridesmaid dress. Texted Julian. Texted Nico. Then I called Luca. "I'm done," I told him. "I'm not going to the wedding." "Are you sure?" he asked, voice thick. Dead sure. I had tried everything. Diplomacy, kindness, logic. Now it was time to tell the truth loudly, publicly. and with witnesses. Because the wedding wasn't just a ceremony anymore. It was a crime scene waiting to happen. The first shot across the bow came 2 mornings later. A text from Adrian. Your manipulative letter was pathetic. Sophie and I are finally happy, and you can't stand it. Stay out of our lives or you'll regret it. No signature. Just venom. I didn't even know he had my number. Julian called within the hour. He texted you too. I blinked. Wait, he messaged you. Julian's voice was ice. Told me I was letting your hysteria cloud my judgment. That you were mentally unstable and I was being dragged down with you. He even tried to guilt me over ruining the wedding for my own sister Nico had gotten one too. A thinly veiled threat. Something about how loyalty to drama over family bloodlines never ends well. It was cartoon villain stuff. Except it was real. We sat at my kitchen table, stunned. Luca brewed coffee in the background like it was just another Tuesday, but I could see the tension in his shoulders. They're building a narrative, he said. Adrian's flipping the script. Sophie's playing the supportive bride-to-be. Adrian's the wounded victim. And you. He looked at me gently. You're the hysterical sister trying to wreck the wedding. I pressed my fingers to my temples. How did we get here? Julian didn't hesitate. We let Sophie rewrite the truth for 3 years. Now she thinks it's gospel, and she wasn't done spreading it. The next few days brought a blitz of carefully curated chaos. Sophie posted a picture of her and Adrian at a wine tasting. Caption: When your family becomes your rock even when others try to tear you down. Adrian posted a throwback of him and me at that cursed double date years ago cropped to make it look like we were cozy. My aunt shared a cryptic status about not believing everything you hear from bitter people who hate to see others happy. Each post was a pinprick. And together, they felt like an attack. Then came the worst blow. Isabel, my cousin, one who'd always been neutral, messed me. I need to know the truth. Elena, I've stayed quiet, but I can't anymore. Sophie told everyone you pushed Adrian at a family dinner. That you're unstable. That you're ruining her wedding out of jealousy. Please, just tell me what happened. So I did. I invited her over, sat her down, and laid everything bare. The bathroom assault. The years of avoidance. The creepy stares at every event. The lie Adrian told about our history. Sophie's ultimatum. When I finished, Isabel looked like she'd been hit by a truck. Elena, she whispered, I'm so sorry, and then, tears in her eyes, I'm not going to the wedding. I stared at her. You don't have to do that. It's your family to know, she said. I have a daughter. She's for now. And one day, she'll be a young woman. If I go to that wedding, I'm telling her that staying silent is easier than doing what's right. I hugged her for a long time. That night, Sophie called me. No greeting, just rage. You're turning people against me, she snapped. Isabel, seriously, are you happy now? I didn't turn her against you, I said quietly. She asked for the truth. I gave it to her. I am your sister, Sophie cried. And you're choosing to destroy my life over one stupid misunderstanding 3 years ago. No, I said. I'm choosing me. Finally, she hung up. And I realized something chilling. Sophie didn't just believe Adrian. She needed to. Because the second she admitted the truth, her entire fairy tale shattered. The final countdown to the wedding felt like a slow-motion collapse. Vendors were bailing. Family group chats were a war zone. And Sophie, she was doubling down. She posted a quote on Instagram with white cursive over a blurry beach photo. Sometimes, you have to let go of toxic people even if they're family. Julian saw it first. She's pre-spinning the wedding fallout, he said grimly. She's framing you as the villain before anything happens. She already blocked me, I muttered. But I'm still public enemy number 1. Apparently, that afternoon, Nico showed up at my door with takeout and a proposal. Write her a letter, he said, handing me soy sauce packets. Lay it all out. One last time. Then you'll know you tried everything. I didn't want to, but I did. It took for days, a dozen drafts, and 1 panic attack. I kept it calm, factual. I detailed everything. The night at the restaurant. The years of avoidance. The family dinners where Adrian's eyes never left me. The way Luca had been disinvited because he supported me. The lie about our history. Then I ended it simply. I love you, Sophie. You're my sister, and that doesn't vanish. But I cannot walk beside the man who assaulted me. I cannot smile for photos while the person who's stood beside me for 6 years sits at home. If you change your mind, even at the last second, we'll be there. But if you don't, I will not sacrifice my safety or my self-respect, not even for you. I emailed it, hit send, and waited. The response came just 4 hours later. Not from Sophie, from Adrian. Your manipulative little letter was laughable. Sophie shared it with me. We've already told everyone how mentally unstable you are, so keep digging your grave. You're not welcome at the wedding. You're not welcome in our lives. Any further contact will be considered harassment. That's when I knew. Sophie hadn't just chosen to ignore what happened. She was actively feeding him everything, handing him my words, letting him twist them, letting him set fire to the only bridge we had left. I read the email twice, then a third time. Then I put my phone down and didn't speak for 10 full minutes. Luca sat quietly next to me, his jaw clenched. Finally, he said, mentally unstable. I nodded once. Gaslighting 101. That's it, he said. No more trying. No more letters. No more talks. You're done. You're out. I am, I said. And I meant it. The week before the wedding passed like a surreal fever dream. Family members texted things like, "You still have time to fix this. Sophie's devastated. We're all heartbroken you won't be there." No one said, "I'm sorry Adrian touched you," or "I believe you," or "You don't have to go." I kept receipts, screenshots, just in case. Then came the day before the wedding. I couldn't sleep. Luca held me close while I lay in the dark, staring at the ceiling, wondering how it had all come to this. We had grown up braiding each other's hair and whispering wedding fantasies under the covers. She wanted an outdoor ceremony. I wanted a library venue. She wanted lilac. I wanted navy. We swore we'd be each other's maids of honor. And now I wasn't even allowed near her wedding, because I told the truth. The next morning of the wedding, he sat on the couch in sweats while Luca handed me coffee. "How do you feel?" he asked gently. "Like I'm missing something," I said. "Even though I know I'm not." "You're not," he kissed my temple. "You're exactly where you should be." Then my phone buzzed. "Julian," he sounded breathless. "Elena, something happened." I froze. "What?" Adrian just cornered one of the servers. At the reception, in front of guests, I sat straight up. Julian continued, voice grim. "Victor saw the whole thing. Girl tried to get past him to the kitchen, blocked her, hands on her waist. She's 20. The catering manager wants to pull the whole team." I was already reaching for my coat. "I'm coming." "No." Julian cut me off. "Don't. This is about to implode." "What about Sophie?" "She's in the bridal suite. Has no idea." "Luca's trying to bribe the caterers to stay." "And Adrian." He paused, voice tightening. "He's laughing, Elena, like it's all a joke." I looked at Luca. He was already getting his keys. It was happening again. But this time, I wasn't alone. This time, Adrian had picked the wrong wedding. The first thing I saw was a text from Isabel. 3:42 p.m. He did it again. "Sophie still won't believe it. I need air." Luca and I were already halfway to the venue when Julian called again. I put him on speaker. "Elena, it's chaos. Adrian made a comment to the photographer earlier. She almost left. Now he groped a server during cocktail hour. 20 years old. Victor saw it, pulled her away, and she's outside crying." "Oh my God," I whispered. "Is she okay?" "She's shaken. Her manager wants to call the police, but Luca, your sister's Luca offering him hush money to keep it quiet." "Of course he is," Luca muttered beside me. "You should see it here. The air is thick. Like people know something's wrong, but they're pretending it's just a bad vibe." Julian exhaled. "Elena, I think it's about to blow up." He wasn't wrong. 20 minutes later, Nicole called. He didn't even say hello. "Isabel just caused a scene." "She what?" "She wasn't even supposed to come," he said quickly. "She skipped cocktail hour, but she heard what happened and stood up during Luca's dad's toast in front of everyone and told the whole room what Adrian did." I slapped a hand over my mouth. She said, "I'm not staying silent while a predator is celebrated like a prince." That was her opening line. "Elena, it was iconic." "What happened after?" Luca's mom screamed at her. "Your dad tried to shush her." "And Sophie?" Sophie slapped Isabel in front of 180 guests, then grabbed the mic and told anyone who believed Isabel's lies to get out. My jaw dropped. "She what?" "She's unraveling," Nico said. "And it's getting worse." My phone buzzed. Julian again. I switched over. Adrian just shoved one of his old frat brothers into the gift table. Guy's name is Marco Keller. Apparently, He saw what Adrian did and called him out for it. Please tell me someone's calling the police. No one is. Because there's no security. Sophie said it was a waste of money, venue managers threatening to shut it down. Caterers are gone. Jay's packing up. It's a funeral with cake now. What's Sophie doing? I asked. She's sobbing in the bridal suite. Mascara streaks. Screaming at her bridesmaids for not defending her. Julian's voice lowered. And Elena. Adrian tried to follow the server to her car. Victor stopped him. But it was close. I felt sick. Luca pulled over into a gas station. We sat in the car, breathing heavily, processing everything. He didn't stop, I whispered. Even after everything. Even in public, Luca ran a hand down his face. Because he never thought he had to. At 5:15 p.m, my dad called. I picked up with a dry throat. The wedding's over, he said hollowly. The venue kicked everyone out. Is the server okay? She left. Victor went with her. I think she's filing a report, and Sophie. Luca took her back to their hotel. She's not doing well. I didn't say anything. Elena, my dad said after a pause, I owe you an apology. My breath caught. When Marco told us what Adrian was like in college. When we saw the girl crying. I kept thinking about what you told us. About the bathroom. And I realized. His voice cracked. I didn't listen. I didn't want to listen. It's too late, I said gently. I know, his voice was barely a whisper. But I needed to say it. After we hung up, I sat in stunned silence. The wedding was over, imploded. Just like I warned them it would. But instead of relief, all I felt was grief. For my sister. For what we used to be. And for the version of me that tried so hard to be quiet, polite, and forgiving. She was gone now. And maybe that was the best thing that could have happened. The fallout came in waves. By Sunday morning, the wedding photos had vanished from Sophie's social media. By Monday, everyone was talking. Text after text poured in, some apologetic, some just nosy. I'm so sorry, Elena. I had no idea. Are you okay? Sophie's not answering. What the hell happened? Julian sent me a picture of the front page of the local wedding vendors Facebook group. A post from the photographer. Warning. Avoid working with the Luke Abrams family. Groom's brother is a known creep. I walked out mid-reception. Below it, dozens of comments. The catering company had blacklisted them. The venue said they'd never rent to them again. Vendors were cancelling reviews. And Adrian. He went quiet publicly. Privately, he lawyered up. But it was already too late. Emily, the server Adrian had assaulted at the wedding, reached out through Isabel. She wanted to press charges. She was terrified. Adrian's brother Luca with a CAD already threatened to sue her boss for defamation. Told him if Emily filed a report, there would be consequences. When Emily called me that night, she was shaking. I know we don't know each other, but Isabel said you'd understand. I need someone to go with me to the police station. I don't want to do this alone. You won't be, I said. The next morning at 9 a.m, Luca and I met Emily and her manager, Victor, at the station. Emily was only 20. She looked like she wanted to vanish into her oversized hoodie. But her hands didn't stop shaking. Victor was fuming. Adrian's brother has called me 4 times already. Offers, threats, it's like a mob movie. But I've been in this business 25 years. And I'm not letting him get away with this. The officer took Emily's report seriously. Asked detailed, professional questions. No dismissiveness. No eye-rolling. Just quiet, focused listening. Then the officer turned to me. Emily said Adrian has a history. Would you be willing to give a statement too? I swallowed. Yes, I would. I told them about the restaurant bathroom. About shoving Adrian away. About locking myself in a stall while he waited outside. When I finished, the officer said, you know, this is the 4th complaint we've received about him. Not all official, but they're piling up. Outside the station, we ran into Marco Keller, Adrian's old fraternity brother. I heard you were filing, he said, nodding toward Emily. Figured I should too. He looked at me and smiled sadly. I should have spoken up in college. Adrian did this all the time. But I didn't want to get involved. And now I have a daughter. She's 3. I'm not going to be that guy anymore. Over the next week, more women came forward. The photographer filed a complaint. So did 2 female guests from the wedding who said Adrian had made them uncomfortable. One said he cornered her near the restrooms. Isabel connected me with 3 women from Adrian's college days who had similar stories. And then just when I thought we'd seen the worst, Julian called me. Sophie left Luca, my knees buckled. She showed up at Mom and Dad's today. 2 suitcases. Puffy eyes. She hasn't stopped crying. Did she say why? She found something, he said quietly. Messages on Luca's phone. Between him and Adrian. Payment records to multiple women, photos, including one of you. From the engagement party. I stopped breathing. She didn't even know he took it. It was from behind, zoomed in. Sophie saw it in a folder labeled insurance. My blood ran cold. Luca took the phone from me as I sat down, shaking. He spoke to my mother while I stared at the wall, trying to process what Adrian and his brother had planned. That old pairing hadn't just been uncomfortable. It had been deliberate. A scheme, a trap. They had wanted to humiliate me, touch me, control the narrative with receipts in their back pocket. And my sister had almost handed me to them. 3 days later, a letter arrived. Sophie's handwriting. No return address. Elena, I don't know where to start. I'm sorry doesn't feel like enough. But it's a start. I knew. I always knew. I saw the way Adrian looked at you. I knew about the bathroom. I told myself it was nothing because admitting the truth meant admitting I'd picked a monster. Luca showed me the messages, the photos, the plans. I laughed when he showed me that picture of you, said it proved you loved attention. That was the moment I realized what I'd become. I'm getting divorced. I'm in therapy. I don't expect forgiveness. I don't deserve it. But I want you to know I believe you. I always did. I just didn't want it to be true, Sophie. I read the letter 3 times. Then gave it to Luca. He held me while I cried. Not from sadness. Not from joy. But from release. After everything she knew. And now she had to live with it. In the end, Adrian pled guilty to a lesser charge. 8 months probation. Court-mandated counselling. A restraining order preventing him from contacting Emily or me. It wasn't enough. It never is. But it was something. Something that said, yes, this happened. You weren't imagining it. He did do this. Luca with a K tried to spin it in public, of course. Misunderstanding. Overreaction. A young man caught in the middle. But Sophie didn't help him anymore. She hired a divorce attorney. Gave them every digital receipt for payoff. Every threat. Every photone told Luca she wanted nothing from him. Not the apartment. Not the ring. Just a clean cut. He tried to fight her. Said she was abandoning family. Her lawyer shut him down in under 2 weeks. I didn't reach out to her. Neither did she. Except for that one letter. We were still orbiting each other from afar. Women raised in the same house, taught to stay polite, smile big, and never make a scene. But the scene had already been made. And maybe it needed to be. Months passed. The court hearings slowed. Emily, the server, started taking night classes. She sent me a message one day that just said, I'm okay. Thanks for being the first person who believed me. Julian and Nico kept showing up like the brothers they were, bringing food. Staying over on bad nights, reminding me that some family doesn't need to be earned. And Luca. God, Luca 6 months after the wedding that wasn't. He proposed quietly, in our kitchen. He slipped a ring into a bowl of popcorn during a rerun of The Office. No fanfare, just us. I said yes through tears and laughter and the overwhelming sense that this was what love looked like. When it came time to send invitations, I sat at our kitchen table, pen hovering over Sophie's name. Luca noticed. You don't have to invite her, he said gently. No one would blame you, I know. I lowered the pen. I'm not ready, and that was okay. We got married 4 months later. Backyard ceremony. Nico walked me down the aisle. Julian stood beside Luca as his best man. Isabel did a reading, something about choosing love over fear. No pastel bridesmaids. No four-star partners. No predators in tailored suits, just joy. Simple, soft joy. After the ceremony, while we danced barefoot on the grass, Julian slipped me an envelope. It was a card. From Sophie. I wish you all the happiness I almost stole from you. May your marriage be built on truth, not fairy tales. With love and regret, Sophie. I read it. Folded it carefully. Slipped it into the pocket of my dress. I didn't cry. I didn't respond. Some bridges, once burned, can never be rebuilt. But maybe that's okay. Maybe the lesson wasn't about forgiveness or reconciliation. Maybe it was about finally choosing myself even when it meant standing alone. Maybe it was about knowing the difference between keeping peace and keeping quiet. Because when I finally spoke the truth, the world didn't end. The lies did, and that was the beginning of everything.